And I want to pull in Lieutenant Eric Jackson. He's with the South Fulton Fire Department. Lieutenant Jackson, this is a big house. Tell us what we have here.
So yes, and you're absolutely correct. It is a big house. It's a large two-story single-family dwelling home. Right now, firefighters have extinguished the fire, and we're still putting out some hot spots, and at the same time doing a lot of information gathering and trying to determine just how the fire started.
In terms of people, you had at least 5 transported to the hospital, correct?
That is correct. That's the number we've received. There could possibly be more, so we're kind of keeping it at several, but that is, for right now, a safe number. We do know that there are some individuals that are unaccounted for. So we're dealing with quite a few different people. So we're just really trying to do our very level best in gathering the information so that we can get a fair accounting on the people that were quite possibly in this home.
Now, you and I were talking, we don't know for sure at this stage, but it's possible there are children involved. Possibly children lived here. Eric, you and I have known each other for, gosh, close to 20 years.
Yeah.
And when I first walked up, you had tears in your eyes. This is a tough job.
It is. It's a tough job. It's tough for our firefighters. And, and what I express is not only on behalf on me personally, but on behalf of our crews. When they can't, I can, from an emotional standpoint, because I know what they're feeling. I'm a nearly 35-year veteran of the fire service, and so I know what they're feeling. I know what they're doing. I know what they're having to contend with as far as information gathering, our investigators, our chiefs, our firefighters, all the way up, all the way down. So I feel it. And it just gets tough, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the strides we're making. It's still a tough thing. And anytime there's someone that's unaccounted for, not only do we take that seriously, but it's a gut shot for us. But we have to push past that and be able to do our jobs.
It's still too early for you all to go inside, right? Because it's dangerous.
Absolutely. It's still structurally unstable. We know that there are burned out structures. There's flooring that's burned out. There are stairwells that are burned out. And so it's just extremely difficult for us to go in. We are able to see that from the front, the side, and from the rear of the house. So we're just strategizing to figure out how we can best get into the home without hurting any of our firefighters.
Thank you, Lieutenant Jackson. We appreciate this update, and we'll be checking in with you. And for those of you at home, this is a rough situation. Still very preliminary, trying to figure out how many people involved in this house fire, and trying to figure out those who are unaccounted for, where they might be. We'll continue to provide updates throughout the morning. Live in the city of South Fulton, Rebecca Schramm, Atlanta News First.
And we are going to be continuing to bring you this coverage, the latest on what we know on this very much developing story. I wanted to tell you a little bit about what we heard from the PIO who we just spoke to a little earlier in the morning. He talked about how this all started and really where firefighters are at this point in their investigation. This all started at about 4:42 a.m. That's when a call was placed to emergency services saying that there's a fire along 7,250 Oswego Trail. Now this is in the city of South Fulton. Firefighters arrived at the scene, we were told, at 4:52 a.m. That's when those initial units arrived, and they immediately started battling the fire, reporting heavy smoke emitting from the 2-story home. At that point, by 4:52, what we heard from the PIO was that this was a fully engulfed home. At this point, the fire had caused severe damage, and so firefighters had to take a defensive firefighting tactic from the very beginning, from the moment that they arrived. They also told us that the roof at one point started to cave in, making it a very dangerous situation for firefighters to enter the building. Now, the biggest thing that we want to report to you right now, and something that Rebecca touched upon, was that several people had to be taken to the hospital, and several more are still unaccounted for. And we asked fire officials what exactly they meant by unaccounted, and they explained to us that they at this time know that there were people linked to the home. They don't know if they were able to get out of the fire in time, if they were possibly still in the home, but they are at the moment labeled as unaccounted for as this investigation continues. And we asked about some of those people without giving too much detail. The fire officials were able to tell us that because it's still structurally unsafe to enter the home right now, they are waiting until a little more daylight creeps in, until they are able to assess if it's safe to go inside the home. We talk about the roof caving in, the stairwell being significantly damaged, a lot of those pieces that would cause a hazard to firefighters and investigators who might enter to look around and continue the investigation. But some of those unaccounted people were described as older adults, possibly middle-aged, and young people. They said they would not be speculating because they are still very much unaccounted for, but that is the range that they described to us at this time.
Reporting in Atlantic Station, Bridget Spencer, Atlanta News First.
And we are going to try to circle back there with Bridget. We caught the tail end of her report just there for you, but we're going to try to touch base with her, see if we can get any updates. I believe she is right outside the hospital where some of those folks have been taken to. We are also monitoring the people that were accounted for, that were transported to the hospital, and trying to just piece together how exactly this fire started. A lot of that information is going to come from fire officials, City of South Fulton fire officials, some of whom you can see still very much at the scene. This is going to be an investigation that goes on for a number of hours. You talk about a two-story home with a fully engulfed two-story home with this level of smoke and flames that it had endured during this morning. And of course, the amount of lives it impacted. We are still piecing together who exactly was in the home at the time. Like I did mention just moments ago, we know that several are still unaccounted for, and we are trying to learn more about who those people might be and any updates that officials can provide for us at this time. But what we do know right now is that this is a fire that started at around 4:42 a.m. along Oswego Trail in the city of South Fulton. Fire officials are currently waiting, trying to piece together an investigation from the outside of the home. They told us that they are not able to enter the home in the usual manner that they conduct these investigations, just because the structure of the home is considered unsafe at this time. And a lot of that was from the defensive tactic that they took to fight that fire. They said at one point the roof started to cave in due to the level of flames and smoke that the home had endured. The stairwell was significantly damaged. A lot of pieces of the house were damaged to the point that the interior is deemed unsafe at this time. So we're going to hold out for those updates from officials as this investigation continues.
See that white for a second?